Guys, welcome back to The Bright Side. Macy here, The Bright Side Girl, and today we're going to be doing a giant unhaul. Okay, so I usually do these at the very end of the year when I'm kind of switching all my decorations up and getting rid of books, but I am stuffed to the max. I actually didn't do a giant unhaul last year because I got new bookshelves. I got like 2 extra bookshelves than what I had before, plus they were taller, so I had more room. And I was really happy with my collection at the time, so I didn't feel a need to do like a humongous unhaul. This one probably won't be as big as it has been in years past for that reason, because I still have these shelves. I do plan on putting some more shelves in here that I'll show you guys in a second at some point, hopefully before the end of the year. But I have officially run out of room, and I'm also getting ready to decorate for Halloween. And if you've been following me for a while, when I decorate for Halloween, I turn all these guys backwards. I got the idea from Hardback Hoarder several years ago, and it just makes the entire vibe just spookier and creepier. And I just keep one shelf of like all my fall books, or most of them, normal, and then any of the other books I don't plan on reading in September and October, and maybe even November, December, I turn backwards, so I can't find them. And last year when I decorated for Halloween, I did a lot of little trinkety things as well, and the shelves weren't like stuffed to the max, like all the way up, like I had room. So we need to make some room for decorating purposes and just life purposes. So this is going to be like a chill vlog style unhaul, so you're going to kind of go with me as I go through different sections and figure things out. It's the middle of August. It's very hot. I do have a couple of units in our house now, but I don't leave them on all the time because it's so expensive, and also I don't have one in my office and it doesn't really make the corner very well. I might be getting like real hot while we do this at 4 p.m. But I really want to get it done so I can start decorating early so that I can film videos for you guys. It's a whole thing. I have a stack of books that I have been saving that I have either read or decided not to read like in advance. I've just kind of been piling them up. So we're going to start with those because those are the ones I know that I'm for sure unhauling, and then I'll take you through the shelves. So if that sounds fun, just keep watching. By the way, quick disclaimer, I get all of my books pretty much at used bookstores, thrift stores, library book sales between like 50 cents to like $4 max, usually $1 to $2. I buy like 1, maybe 2 new books a year. So that's why I'm able to have like a ton of books and unhaul with a little bit more of abandon, because I haul such huge amounts and they only cost me like $1, and I trade them and I sell them and things. So it's not like a huge loss for me to get rid of them. And I kind of rotate things a lot. So things I think that I can find a lot, I wind up unhauling more and stuff like that. So there you go. Okay, forgive the empty shelf. I put away in advance some of my Galaxy reads that I know I'm not going to read until next year, so that I can also make some room. I have about 15-16 books to show you guys already that have just piled up over the course of the year. Most of these I have read or DNF'd. Okay, so first up, one I'm really sad about is To Kill the Farm Boy by Delilah Dawson. I'm not going to go into grave detail about why I'm unhauling a ton of these, because a lot of them will be TBR books, but these are ones that I have read. So I actually DNF'd this one, and I will talk about it in my August wrap-up because I forgot to talk about my July wrap-up. This is just like a satire version of a bunch of different fairy tales, and I think that I don't like satire because I've tried to read like 3 or 4 different books and I just don't find them funny. This one, I mean, it was really clever, and the narrator was amazing because there are so many different characters in here. There's like a talking goat. This one's got kind of like a retelling of The Princess Bride. But there was just a lot of boy humor in here, like a lot of like fart jokes and sex jokes, and like I was just kind of like not into it. If you like Christopher Moore style, you'll probably like this one. It just wasn't really my vibe, so I DNF'd this one. And also, it's really pretty and I've been excited about it for a while, so I'm sad. That means I will also unhaul No Country for Old Gnomes, which is the 2nd or the 3rd book in the series, which I recently hauled. They're so beautiful. I'm sad, but bye. Then we have Mermaid and Mrs. Hancock. I talk about this one in my June reading wrap up, so if I remember, I will link it in the cards. I went into this knowing that it wasn't going to be super mermaid heavy despite the description and despite the title, but it was even less than what I thought it was going to be. This is more of like a historical fiction novel. I will say the writing is beautiful, but the story is kind of strange and it was kind of dull and all over the place and I wasn't really sure of the point. So I usually keep my mermaid books even if I don't love them, but I don't even consider this one mermaid. Okay, Teardrop. Waterfall. I think that I DNF'd Waterfall. I'm not entirely sure. So I actually really enjoyed Teardrop. I gave it like 4 stars. I read it in like 2 days and I just really enjoyed it and I flew through it. It made me want to reread like Fallen. But I really did not like Waterfall. It was like one of my least favorites of the year. All over the place. There was weird plot points. It's about a girl. Basically, if she cries, she kind of brings on water to the earth. And there's all this like myth and lore behind it. And I'm doing a bad job describing it, but this one was super strange. It was just very bizarre. It has really bad reviews as well. So because of that, it kind of tainted my idea of the first one. And since I need to make some room, I'm gonna unhaul these guys. Okay, I'm gonna unhaul Given to the Earth. I think I DNF'd this one like an hour in. It wasn't bad, I just was not in the mood for it, and it has a very like long, drawn out fantasy writing style. They have bad reviews. Because I'm getting rid of this one, I'm also gonna get rid of Given to the Sea, which is the first book. It's a duology. They both have, again, terrible reviews on Goodreads. I actually thought this one was fine. I didn't mind it. It's about a girl that's been raised to be sacrificed to the sea to help save the town on this island. And there's just like a lot of things happening. It's a little bit convoluted, a little bit drawn out, takes itself a little bit too seriously, so don't need them. Monument 14, I read this one for a hike-a-thon this year. This is about a group of kids and teenagers that wind up having to survive during an apocalypse in like a Costco Walmart type situation, which sounds amazing. But there were some subjects in here that I didn't like and not a lot happened. It was kind of boring. There were some creepy parts with like some of the teenage girls being like ogled, which I didn't really love. It definitely has a way old school writing style. Overall, it was like a 3-star read, and I just kind of was like, I don't really care about the story. So usually 3 stars. Like, I liked it, but I don't want to read it again. And this is the second or third one in the series that I was going to read, but unhaul them both. This is like a sneak peek into some of my most disliked books of the year, which I don't normally do that video. So, okay, Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik. This is beautifully written. Naomi is amazing. This was not really what I expected, which is kind of my own fault. It's definitely like a 4 or 5-star read for a lot of people. I found it extremely confusing, and it didn't have the romance aspect that Uprooted had that I loved. Uprooted is one of my favorite books ever, and this one was confusing. You're following a lot of different perspectives. It's a Rumpelstiltskin retelling, like loosely. Again, I found it kind of slow, and just nothing kind of really stuck with me. So I think I'm gonna unhaul it or trade it for something better. Enchante by Gita Trelease. Now I will say I will read something else from her. This was her debut novel. This was a 3-star for me. Again, not bad, but I didn't understand the entire plot of this book. Our main character has the ability to turn scraps of metal into money for food, and her sister are kind of trying to survive after their parents have died. It's set in like the 1800s. I thought that was a really cool premise, and there's like a lot to do with like the invention of hot air balloons in France and things, but there were like a lot of different plot points and I felt like they didn't go together. I didn't understand what the entire book was about other than just the sisters, and again, it just didn't really stick with me. I did like this one more than some of the other books, but unhauling. Starport by George R.R. Martin. I also DNF'd this one. I started this during Galaxy-a-thon. This is basically about aliens coming and taking over, and there's like a hub in Chicago. They have like integrated the aliens and they work in the police force, but we're also trying to handle them, and basically it's just like a whole thing. I didn't love the art style for this one, and with graphic novels, if I don't feel like connected to the characters in the story fairly early on, I just don't bother, because I'm not a major graphic novel fan, but I really love the ones I love, and I think a lot of people will really like this, but it just wasn't for me. Okay, Perfected and Tarnished by Kate Jarvik Birch. I've been wanting to read these for a while, and I finally got to them this spring. This is a dystopian trilogy. We've got basically girls that have been designed and bred to be like pets for people. So they're like pretty girls that are like human pets. It's got a whole creepy vibe about it. It's not a bad series. It's a decent dystopian, but I really didn't like the love story. I thought it was kind of weird and strange. And the second book got a lot darker than I was actually expecting it. Again, these were fine. just nothing that's gonna really hold me in. So standard 3 stars, unhaul. 10 by Gretchen McNeil. I read this one for Hikeathon because it was for this survival read prompt. Basically there's this party on an island and these kids all go to this really rich house, and at the party things go awry and they start getting killed off and they have to figure out who the killer is. So it's like a suspense thriller. Survival reads are really hit and miss for me because sometimes we get a lot of background on the characters that I just feel like is unnecessary and doesn't really do anything for me. That was a little bit of the case with this one. It was just only okay, and it was very dark. Again, just nothing fabulous. So Wildfire by Karsten Knight. I tried to read this one again during Hikeathon, I believe. Solid DNF. Like, I hated the writing style of this. There's like YA books, like what we're all used to, and then there's like young adult books that are like what the authors think young adults are like. That's what I call them. And it just had a very like catty girl vibe about it. Lots of cussing, lots of like rude, obnoxious characters, and I just couldn't handle it. Like, girls are like punching each other in the face in the beginning of this book, and like it was just not what I expected. It was supposed to be about a volcano goddess, which I literally got to 100 pages and it's only 350. And I didn't get anywhere close to that, and it wasn't as magical as I wanted. It was feeling more contemporary. It just wasn't doing it for me at all. So me and my friend Marie, who was reading it, DNF'd it. Then lastly out of this stack is, sadly, We Hunt the Flame by Hafsa Fazil. I hope I'm saying that correctly. This one is not bad. Again, I think a lot of people are gonna love this one. I read this actually twice this year because I just found it so confusing. I did it via audiobook both times. I love the narrators. They're some of my favorites. The first book, I felt like nothing was sticking. I literally was buddy reading this with my friend, and then when I started to read it again, I got halfway through and I texted my friend JJ and I was like, did you remember there being witches in this? Because she was struggling too, and she was like, there are witches, and I'm like, yeah, there are a lot of witches and they talk about them all the time, and like somehow it just didn't like stick in my brain. And then I read it again, and while I liked it more and understood it a little bit more, I had no desire to read the second one. And so there are so many fantasy series that really connect with me that I'm just gonna let this guy go, which is sad. But yeah, I think a lot of people are still gonna really love this though, so you should definitely check it out. We've got an assassin, we've got a witches, we've got a cursed forest, we've got a hate to love thing. So okay, so now I'm gonna take you off your pedestal and bring you around and show you the areas that I'm gonna be looking at. Okay, so this is my office situation. It's a disaster, but not as much as it has been in past videos, shockingly. Ledge is very tired and he's mad that I'm filming. Are you okay, baby? Okay, so we're gonna go over here in a second. These are all the books I just showed you. I've got the empty parts where I put away my Galaxy books. I just need to clean the desk. This is Halloween that I'm gonna put out soon. So over here, this section here, my stacks kind of fell over. First of all, the weights normally go right there. This section is a spooky September book haul that I need to film. For the last like 2 months, I've been saving anything that's been slightly like witchy, monstery, whatever, and not Realmbreaker, but the rest of it is going to be in a book haul that I need to film. And then this stack is my August book haul that I need to film. But because I've had some of these for such a long time, and maybe even some of these, I'm gonna go through them and just make sure I want to haul them, because some of them I got in the beginning when I didn't think I could find a lot of spooky books, and so now that I have obviously a ton, may not need them all. So I think we're gonna start with this section first, and that way I don't have to waste time actually hauling them in a video, and then we will move on to all of this. Okay, I don't really have a way to set you up while I go through it, so I'm just gonna bring them over here and chat about them with you again. Almost all the rest of the books that I'm going to unhaul are going to be unread books, and I'll explain briefly why I'm unhauling them. I have a couple read sections that I'm going to go through, but I think I'm keeping most of them, so here we go. Okay, I actually went through the spooky stack and the regular stacks, and I only found 3, possibly 4 that I want to get rid of, so that's like good that I got stuff that I still like to keep, and then not good that I haven't gotten rid of more. Okay, Children of Virtue and Vengeance, second book in the Children of Blood and Bone. I don't have Children of Blood and Bone, and I'm still kind of on the fence on whether I want to read it. I just have so many fantasy series to get to, so I think I'm going to let this one go, and then if I decide to read it, I can always look for the first book. Rage and Ruin by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I do want to try more from Jennifer. I've tried 2. I thought 1 was okay. I really didn't like another one. And so I'm kind of on the fence with her. And this is the second book, again, in Storm and Fury. Her stuff is harder to find, but I can get most of it on audiobook, and so I'll just try it out that way before I start purchasing them, because I'm still not sure. And then A Blade So Black. I'm mainly getting rid of this one because it's paperback. This is a retelling of Alice in Wonderland. I love retellings. I collect them. I actually am getting ready to haul A Dream So Dark, which is the first book, but I have it in hardback, and I do most of my reading on audiobook, and I know I can get this one on audio, so if I like it, then I will look for the hardback, because I try to only keep so many paperbacks on hand at a time for like going to the beach and stuff like that. So that's the main reason. It's just that it's paperback and I can probably find another edition. Okay, so now we're gonna go through these shelves. I'll start right here just because then I don't have to move the camera. So this is like my spooky stuff, which has migrated because I have another spooky shelf over there. I don't think I'm gonna get rid of any of these before spooky season starts. And when I say spooky, I mean like very minimal, like just witches and vampires, some not scary zombie books, stuff like that. Nothing like true horror. I'm scared of Stephen King and all that jazz. I think I'm keeping most of this, but we'll go through just to make sure. Okay, I want to keep this section, so that's good and bad. I'm gonna go get a stepping stool so I can go up higher. The 2 shelves above this are all middle grade, and I know there's probably 1 or 2 that I can get rid of because I don't read a ton of middle grade. Like I read some every year, but only a few. So we'll unhaul a couple in a second. Okay, nothing too exciting. I found 2. So Forest of Shadows. This is a Frozen book by Camilla Benko. I think it's really cute and I love Disney. It's a really beautiful book. But I've had pretty bad luck with almost every Disney book that I've read. There's like 1 or 2 Twisted Tales that I've liked so far, but everything else I've just had bad luck. And I can probably find this easy later, so I'm gonna unhaul that one. I still need to watch Frozen 2. And then this one's super, super cute. Middle grade that I got at Dollar Tree. I don't really know much about it, and we're gonna keep it that way so that I don't get talked into keeping it. Then while I was up there, I looked at the next shelf over. I've unhauled this before in previous videos. I can find this super easy again, and I know it's a huge fantasy series. Something to do with aliens coming. It looks cool, but I have so many that I haven't even started yet, and I've been really good about finishing series, so I'm trying not to start too many new ones. Now I'm gonna look lower on these couple shelves here. So most of these are gonna be dystopian, survival, robot. It's like a whole vibe. Okay, I found a decent amount down there actually. Okay, see all the stars? Because again, I found this one at Dollar Tree and I thought it was going to be like Galaxy, but instead I think it's like a thriller, like a suspense thriller, kind of like We Are Liars. And I don't really know if it's good, and I have a couple of those. I like them sometimes, so I can let that go. Dry by Neal Shusterman. Jeff and I tried to read this one a few years ago. We DNF'd it and we always plan on getting back to it. It's about like what happens if a drought in California goes like all the way. But I just didn't really love it and I don't really have the desire to pick it up again. So I think I'm gonna let it go. Reverie by Ryan LaSala. I know this is a standalone. I think it might have something to do with time travel. I know that my friend JJ liked this one but didn't love it, and it's kind of lost its appeal to me. So. And then these do look really cool, but again, it's just another series. And I have so many. So City of Bastards and War of the Bastards. They look cool. It's just like a princess and her brother is dead and there's a traitor, and I try not to keep too many royalty ones, especially ones that are lesser known, because there are so many and they can get kind of old if you binge them. So this might be great, but unhauling for now. Okay, so now I have looked at these 3 shelves, the skinny one, then this one, and then this little one here. This is mostly like mermaids and pirates and classics, so I didn't really need to like go through that. Now we're gonna go through the last 2 shelves, and then we will go through my paperbacks, my other spooky shelf, and my bookshelf in the bedroom, and then we'll be done. Okay, we'll start again where you guys can see a little easier. So this is going to be retellings. I really don't like to get rid of retellings. Top part is contemporary and the rest is going to be just like random fantasy books. Okay, a nice little chunk from that shelf. The Serena Legacy by Jennifer Lamb. I started this one a few years ago. Cute bookmark that I left in it. And I never finished it, even though I was enjoying it. It is like a retelling on the Romanoffs, but I have like a lot of other Romanoff retellings that are like a lot more popular and I'm more interested in. So if I become obsessed, I can find this later. Rebel Wing, which I was kind of on the fence of when I got it. I literally just picked it up because there's like a dragon and I don't need it. Shatter the Suns. This is part of the Last Burning series. I really haven't heard anything about it. The cover's beautiful. I don't have the first book. Last Star Burning is the first one. So yeah, I have gone back and forth on this series for a long time, but Orphan Monster Spy and Devil Darling Spy. This is a Holocaust based story and it's supposed to be like disturbing and a little bit creepy. I just don't really like stories based around the Holocaust. It's just, I don't know. It doesn't do anything for me fiction wise. So I think I'm gonna unhaul these. Most of those I actually found at Dollar Tree, so cool. Sword and Verse. Again, this is just another fantasy series. I've heard actually somewhat good things, but I don't have the other books and I don't really know much about it. And I haven't even gotten to Throne of Glass. I left all my contemporaries because I didn't have that many. So now we have one more shelf over here. This is going a lot faster than I was planning on. Okay, on this side, so the bottom 3 shelves, which you can't see because they're like right here, are read books. So everything in my office is TBR except for these bottom 3. And then these 2, and then maybe half of this one right above it are unfinished series that I need to finish, or like next up in a series. So like I've caught up on Cassandra Clare's like Dark Artifices, but I haven't read the rest of them. So they're in here. So I don't think I'm going to be getting rid of any of these, but we'll check. And then the top 2 are again kind of more random fantasy. Okay, I actually found 3. So I have Fire and Flood by George R.R. Martin, and this book is stunning. It's so pretty with the artwork. This is 300 years before Game of Thrones. I think a lot of the new series is based on this. It's really cool. But I found it before, and I'm still halfway through Game of Thrones, so I'm like nowhere near reading this unless I read it first. And I think that I could get like a decent trade off of this book because I do trading on my book group. So we're gonna try and trade it. If I can't trade it or get like a decent price for it, then I'll keep it, but I think I'm gonna unhaul it. And then The Lightning Queen by Laura Rasu. I actually really liked this when I read it. It's a standalone. It's got kind of like a magical surrealism vibe to it. There's like a grandpa telling his life story to his grandson about this like girl that he thinks is as magical. They're set in the remote mountains in Mexico, so there's a lot to do with the culture of these people that live on this mountain, and that part was really cool. I just don't feel like I'm gonna read it again, and I don't really think that I will recommend it to too many people, so I'm gonna unhaul it. Okay, so that's it for the main shelf. We're doing actually kind of better than I expected. So I'm gonna take you to a couple more spots. We'll almost be done. So, easy peasy. Okay, I have this little corner shelf here that I keep. It's a mess right now, but normally I keep what I've been reading on top paperbacks and then like some notebooks. So I have this section stacked of paperbacks, and I think I'm gonna go through and get rid of some. So I know the lighting is bad over here, sorry about that. Lastly, this is my little skinny spooky shelf. I think I'm keeping all of these again, but just to make sure. Ooh, I think I'm gonna get rid of these. Okay, I actually found some over there as well. Okay, seriously hexed, only because I think this is an extra copy. I think I bought 2 on accident, so this will actually probably go in my Not So Scary-a-thon giveaway. It's like a middle grade or young adult witch series. The Reckoning and the Becoming of Noah Shaw. I'm kind of torn. I like the Mara Dyer series. It's one of my only like contemporary-ish spooky reads that I've enjoyed with an unreliable narrator. And Noah Shaw is the love interest and I love him, but I've heard real bad things about this duology, which is like either a prequel or it's next up. So I might talk to some of my friends and see how they feel. Because I don't want to like taint my view of Noah. So these might be going. This is really pretty looking. This is just a self-published book that my friend Lindsay sent me. And I don't really know anything about it. And I try to only keep a couple self-published books on my TBR, and I try to keep ones that are really highly recommended. And she just kind of sent it to me. She didn't read it. Same thing for Catching Stars. This cover is really beautiful. It says Be Afraid of Witches. I don't really know anything about it. This is Roar the Sky, which is the 3rd book in the Blood of Earth trilogy. And I don't have the other 2, and it's paperback. And I got it because the cover's pretty, and it was a Dollar Tree. So, bye. The Princess Will Save You. Only because, again, it's paperback, and I can get it on audiobook. I always make sure I can get my paperbacks on audio before I get rid of them, and that they come in hardback if I'm going to swap them out. I have a friend that I think will like this one, and I love her Sea Witch duology so much. I think this is a duology as well, but I'll get it on audio, and if I love it, I'll switch to hardback. The Bone Shard Daughter. I've heard amazing things about this, but again, I'm going to double check. Pretty sure I can get it in audio, and then I will get the hardcover. I got excited because I got this like when it first came out, so it was a little more rare. But Good Night, The Sand Maiden, book 3. Again, another self-published one. I honestly picked this up because Charlie Bowater did the cover, and I love her. She does so many popular ones. Like she did that Princess Will Save You cover and Aurora Rising. But that doesn't mean the book's going to be good necessarily. And this is the 3rd book, and I don't really know anything about the rest of them, and they're probably going to be hard to find since it's self-published. So unhauling. Okay, so now I am sweating so much, you guys. I'm not doing that much work, but it's probably like 85 degrees in here because I don't have an air conditioner in here. So I'm going to take you into my bedroom, and we're going to go over my red books because I have one shelf in there that are like my favorites, and I've like run out of room, and it's a whole thing. I don't think I'm going to get rid of anything, maybe 1 or 2 max. But I'm doing really good so far, like way better. Normally I have to push myself a little bit more. So it just shows you how many things I've gotten. I think I'm almost at 50 books, so that'll be pretty good if I can do that. All right, I don't bring you in here too often because the lighting's really bad. So this, I reorganized, you'll see in a second, and these were the books I didn't have room for in here. So I need to make room. But this is the shelf my dad built me in here. So I have mostly Cassandra Clare and fantasy up top, contemporary / color scheme books here. And then I started to do this. It's a little messy, I need to clean some of it up because I want this shelf to be purely mermaid books. So I have enough to do 3 shelves, but I didn't take everything out to do it yet because I think I'm going to decorate this for fall as well. So I'll just put the mermaid books away. And then we've got some darker books down here. So we're going to go through them. I don't think I'm going to have a way to set you up to watch me go through them. So I'll just catch up with you after I look through. I found 2. So The Vine Witch. So I actually gave this one 4 stars when I read it a couple years ago. Luann G. Smith. I physically read it. I really enjoyed it. It's about a witch that can help like vineyards, and she has a vineyard, and it has like a whole cool magic system. I did not love the second two books, and I can get this one on audio if I'm in the mood, so I think I'm gonna unhaul this one. And then the Aeon Chronicles by April M. Woodard. So my friend sent me this one, again another self-published novel. I actually did this one on audio though. The audio was really good. You can get it on Audible. This has kind of got a Fallen Angels kind of vibe to it. It was really like well written, and I enjoyed the story and the characters, but it does have some like Christian undertones, which if that's your thing, then you may really love this. There was just some things that I didn't totally love about it that kind of keep me wanting to read the next two. Like I find with the Christian novels that I like the first book in the series, and then they get a little bit too like preachy and intense as you continue on. That may not be the case with this one. The writing is really good, and I like April a lot. But yeah, I just don't think I'm ever gonna read it again, so I'll let somebody else check it out. Okay, that is it for my giant unhaul. I think I only hit like 50 books or close to 50 books, so a lot smaller than what I normally do. But it'll give me some breathing room for the future. And once I get my shelves up, I'll be able to figure out more. So I'll take you guys around really quick and just show you what I plan on doing. It's dark in here now because the light's so bright, but I'm gonna put a shelf like way up high here and above the closet, like one single shelf, and then maybe one or two over my desk. It's just a mess. And then I might get another skinny shelf to go here instead of this small one, and I can move this small one over and make it like a full Belle office. I want to like put actual decor here instead of random stuff, and I need to do a lot still, but we've got a lot of other rooms to work on. So yeah, so next time you see this, it will be me decorating for Halloween. So exciting. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this kind of crazy, weird vlogging video. Like I said, I will be doing a vlog and decorating video for Halloween. So I'll be taking these babies like fully apart. Hold on, I see one more book I can get rid of. Song of the Dryad. Again, a friend randomly sent this to me. I don't know anything about it. It looks pretty, but we're gonna say goodbye. Okay, anyway, thank you guys for watching. I hope you're ready for spooky season, fall season, all the festive things. I have so many things planned. I'm so excited just to, I don't know, change up the office and get some new vibes in. I will link my other unhaul videos up in the cards for you guys because they're much bigger and they're a little bit more fun probably. And I will see you guys next time on The Bright Side.